Hello, welcome back to the May Summit School District Spotlight. I'm Kirsten Anderson, Director of Communications. I'm here with Consuelo Redhorse, Board President, and Lisa Webster, our Board Vice President. And we are going to be talking about the May 15th board meeting that occurred last night and some of the decisions that we made around compensation, the McCain property and housing, athletic fees, and of course, some of our monitoring reports. So talk to me a little bit about the compensation agreement. It was such a smooth process this year.
Yes, it was very smooth. It was so the negotiations so last night we ratified the agreement between Summit School District and the Summit County Education Association. And what that did is it provided a 2.77 average increase to all staff. And it was a really, I would say, it was a really great opportunity for leaders in the union, as well as in the central office and various members of the district's negotiating team, for them to share their needs and come to a really good compromise for this year. Again, as funding makes it difficult to compensate our employees at the level that we know that they should be compensated, and the 2.77 is very close to the cost of living increase
based on the state.
So it was. I mean, we had one night of negotiations, and it was very student focused. Which is what we always hope for, and that I think is always there. But it was more. I feel like it was felt more in the room, and really stayed at the forefront of why collective bargaining units are out there bargaining for their teachers and their staff in Colorado. We had Liz Waddett from CEA, who joined us also at the meeting, but was not as part of the negotiation teams. But it's really making sure that we have staff that stays, that their knowledge is there, that they can create connections with students, so that students are engaged in their learning. So that was a really, really great opportunity there.
I think that comes on the heels of a year of making sure that we had consistent meetings, that we were hearing one another.
Yes.
And I think as you look across the state, we just said it in our last segment that school funding is hard, and the way the system is set up, it makes it hard to compensate our teachers the way we would like to. And so the collective effort is on making changes there, and working together, right, for the best of the students.
Right.
Yep.
And there's more work to do.
Yes.
We'll continue advocating, on so many levels with different education associations, and I think there's a really big push to get our community involved. I think that's really, really important for the community to understand how it works, and how the decisions on the state level ultimately flow down pretty strongly into our local community.
As well as the decisions on the federal level.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about the next topic is the McCain property, and this is something that has been in the works and have lots of discussion about prior. And we finalized some details on that last night. Talk about that discussion.
Sure. So we have been working with the town of Breckenridge for, at least on this aspect of this topic, for about a year. And we had discussions with them previously. And what this discussion was we have a 10-acre plot on the McCain property, which is just to the south of the BBC, or Breckenridge Building Center, where that would be used for potentially additional school facilities. The board made this decision based off of need for housing that's more affordable than what's at market for staff, and that we would get 35 units dedicated for staff that would be in perpetuity in this development. So what that would mean is, once the first 35 units were sold, the town of Breckenridge would keep us at a first right of refusal at that 35 unit capacity. Not that we wouldn't have ability to apply for the lottery, but we would have a minimum of 35 units within the runway project, which that is the project that is just to the south of, continuing to the south of CMC or Colorado Mountain College.
Which is a beautiful area there right along the river. It's so cool. What a neat opportunity for our staff. This is one solution amongst many that are needed to address housing needs within our staff. And I think the other thing we've talked about before is people do look at how gorgeous that property is and say, oh, the school district could make millions of dollars and solve a lot of budgeting problems if they just sold this property. And could we just recap again real quick why that's not necessarily the case?
So we had a few appraisals done over the years, and because the board also, we had heard that, and so we wanted to make sure that we were doing our due diligence. Basically, the way that it's zoned is zoned for government use, and so it's not zoned for private development, for market value places, and so if it were to be sold, it doesn't have that, I would say, the lucrative ability to gain all sorts of money. Even if it did, it's a one-time dollar. And I think what's important about people understanding that is that the school district, 89% of our general fund goes to people. And so salary and benefits. And what that means is that even a one-time influx of money does not help solve the problem of continuing to be able to fairly compensate our employees and continue the programs that we have. So it could, maybe assist in one situation, but once the money is gone, it's gone, and then you lose the property as well. So this is kind of a really great opportunity to have something be forever.
Long-term benefit.
Yes.
And we're so fortunate, I'll say, that the town of Breckenridge offered this partnership because they are truly subsidizing a lot of the cost to make it more affordable.
Yeah, they're really looking to build resilient, strong communities by supporting our workforce and recognizing that teachers are such a key component to the strength of a community.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes.
A new topic last night was athletic fees. Talk a little bit about that discussion and decision.
I can start. So we have not changed athletic fees since 2018. Part of the impetus for this is that we know, similar to housing, that costs for transportation, costs for equipment are outpacing what we are bringing in. That said, we are still making accommodations for those students who participate very frequently, because that is a cost burden on our families.
Yeah.
And also, we're working on getting more communications out to all of our families to make sure that they know that there isn't a social economic barrier, because we do offer scholarships that waive at least a portion of an athletic fee. Do you have anything else to add?
And I would say also because of the amazing work of our athletes, as well as the program and our coaches, we have been, our teams have been doing so great. So we've had a lot of extended seasons. And so again, those costs and the transportation to go with that is adding up. And so, I mean, it's amazing to see the great job of our students and the highlights and what it brings to their lives. Athletics, personal, and it affects their academics as well. And so, I think lots of it was just making sure that we're hearing from families about what the concerns are. As Lisa mentioned, making sure that we have big communications with our families and letting them know what opportunities are available. We did have some grant writing by
Mr. Bodor.
By Mr. Bodor here at the high school to make sure, and great appreciation as well to the Climax molybdenum mine that was able to support a grant to be able to provide those scholarships. So again, we look at our community partners in this and being able to make sure that athletics are accessible.
Yeah.
And also, we're also trying to make sure that we can continue the great programming that we offer to students.
Yep, it's so fun to go watch our athletes in action. So if anyone hasn't had the chance to do that, go see a game, join us.
And I would also add, not just athletics, but like our arts,
Yes.
right? The theater, speech and debate, those are all great things
Yes.
to go check out.
Absolutely. Okay, our final topic for this segment is talking about our ends reports. And this is a way that our board really keeps their finger on the pulse of operations and forward motion in Summit School District. So talk a little bit about ENDS 3, what it monitors, and what you heard last night.
Great. Do you want to set some of the foundation?
Sure. So ENDS 3 basically monitors our economic success of our students. So what the focus is post-secondary, our students set up for post-secondary success. We were provided a 60-page report that was very comprehensive, and I would encourage everyone, I know it doesn't sound like fundraising, but actually, I mean,
really is.
I've quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, great.
But I will also say, if you want the shortened version, check out the View of the Summit that's coming out today. So we had a lot of information about college credits earned with our partnership through CMC. What was it like? We had 481 students participate, and each of them with the average credits earned of like 10.53. Pretty amazing. I mean, huge numbers. And work-based learning.
So wait, just real quick.
sorry.
That credit, that means free college
Yes.
credit that you're not paying for later in a post-secondary environment.
Correct.
Yes. In this situation, it was the tuition value of these credits was $540,000.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing. And research shows that students who take concurrent enrollment classes while they're in high school are 23% more likely to enroll in college. They get the rigorous classes, and they really get to see themselves as college students. So students that may not have thought that college was for them, they're already college students.
Right.
They get, they're already logged into the CMC system in order to be able to do that. So that was just, it's a really amazing work that we're partnering with CMC.
And I'll also add, and I know we've mentioned this in past segments, but that $540, or not dollar, but $1,000 savings is on top of the generous scholarships, and then scholarships that our students earn with those institutions that they're heading towards, whether it's a technology-based institution or technical school or college,
Yeah.
university,
Yeah.
all the above. So.
Yeah, all of this is about personal and success after students leave us, whatever,
Right.
opening up doors for whatever pathway they want to grasp.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and I think another thing that's important is the work that the district and the high school has done with Colorado Mountain Colleges, kind of doing this backwards mapping of making sure that students are able to look at what sort of career paths that they're interested in, and then be able to map their way through. And this is a continuing work. So this is what some of the next steps in our ENDS report are. So what are some of the next things that we're doing to be able to support these students? Some of it, on the state level, there's a lot of guaranteed transfers. So many of the credits that are being offered here at Summit High School are a guaranteed transfer to the public universities here in Colorado. And so that's just another really, really great opportunity. We have a lot of feedback from the staff and the students and families that helped us, that are helping us in the path forward in making sure that students have access to those great opportunities that are going to help them be successful in life.
And like you said, they see themselves in those roles, they build confidence, they build experience, and they just believe in their potential.
Yes, yes. And there's a couple other pieces. So we talked a bit about industry credentials. So what's really some of the work that's being done now in the high school is there's so many different industry credentials that students can get. So whether it's through our careers in construction program, whether it's through our health pathways and being able to get some medical certifications, partnerships, I would say, with outside organizations to be able for, say, kids who are interested in health to do some of their clinicals and do some shadowing to get that. And then also culinary programs,
Construction.
Yeah.
construction, OSHA, you know, some of these, and there are so much more than even that I'm stating right now, but we had 71 students that received industry certifications this last school year, and we'll be getting a lot more information about this next word, the close of this school year with our next year. So what we do with these ends reporting is they're about on an annual basis, and they look backwards. And so we get a lot of information about what has happened in the last year and the growth, and also how that helps provide a springboard for the work that's going forward. So the idea is each year we see where we were last year, we see what we've been able to accomplish and what the last year's looked like and how we're continuing to move forward. So there's that accountability built in every year. So there's going to be past information, historical information. So if somebody wanted to follow from year to year to year to year, they'll be able to do that in a cohesive way that makes sense.
Yeah. So much growth in this Future Ready Pathways initiative, and huge kudos to Ellen Clark and Doug Blake and Brittany Akers and the high school team here, and all of the teachers who are teacher leads, expanding these connections. I really encourage people to take a look at the course catalog on the Summit High School page, because it's just like, wow, these kids have so much opportunity and the connections between them. And then also, just because we were talking about our graduates, the Summit High School 2025 Decisions Instagram page, you see where kids are going and what they're pursuing. It's very cool to see like the tangible outcomes of what's offered here.
And I'd also like just to backtrack a little bit, that ENS3, which is economic success, is one of a 3-part series. So our first ENS report we get in October, and that's all about academics, right? And then our second ENS report is personal success, which is focused on our graduate profile, and they all tie together in a, as Consuelo was saying, in a cohesive manner. So, and then that longitudinal or like over time look at how we're doing gives us the apples to apples look at things.
Yeah, and what's the saying? What gets measured gets done. So it is progress in action. Lisa, just because you're rocking the sweatshirt, I don't want to let this segment go by without talking about the tiny home celebration yesterday, and what that project is and what's next for that tiny home.
So part of our career and technical education is trade skills, and what the tiny home provides, and please add in if I miss anything, is provides a bunch of interdisciplinary skills, right? You need to use your math to figure out angles. You need to use reading skills to make sure you're getting all the specs correct. So, and then applying it to an actual hands-on work-based learning project. And the culmination of that project is a tiny home. And this is the second year that we've done it. If any, as Tony said last night, if anyone's interested in a tiny home, $80K is all you need to purchase it. So $80,000 is the cost of this home. And yeah, it's a great,
so cool.
And we have a great teacher leading it, as well as awesome community members. In fact, we were touted as, in terms of a community member effort, one of the best cohesive efforts in, if not the best, in Colorado. So
Such great community.
Yeah.
So cool. And that will be on display at the Parade of Homes. So very cool opportunity for our students' works to be spotlighted. And go check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So all of these things really, these decisions build a stronger foundation for academic and operational excellence. And the future is bright for our kids and for our district.
It is. It is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to get back to you about upcoming board elections, how you can participate.